Hello crochet family, and welcome back to another pattern tutorial by me, Crystal, from Yarn Creations. So this pattern tutorial is going to be on the 30-minute beanie. I love this beanie. It is so fast to make. Yeah, it can be done in 30 minutes to an hour depending on your comfort level with crochet. And also once you start making these, they tend to work up a little bit faster once you get used to them. So I have a couple samples here. This one I made last year. So we actually do use 2 strands of yarn while we make it, which is another reason why it works up so fast. And it also makes it a little bit thicker. I added a faux fur pom-pom to the top of this one. Has a little bit of a contrasting look. The brim, or the edge around the bottom of the hat, is actually done using the crab stitch, which I just recently did a tutorial on. So I like how that kind of fits into this pattern tutorial. I also have another sample here. I just made this one. So I haven't decided if I want to do just a pink pom-pom. Do I want to do a pink and gray, or do I just want to do a plain gray? I'll probably make all 3, and then maybe I'll do a post on my page, on my Facebook page, and see what everyone thinks would be best. With this one here, I probably could have done away with the last 2 rows. It is a little bit bigger. It doesn't sit flat like it should. But other than that, it looks great. However, I did kind of modify the pattern. So the pattern is, it's by hearthookhome.com, and it's called the Easy Peasy 30-minute beanie. I'll put the pattern, the written instructions, in the description of this video. She also has one for a child size, so I will put that link in as well. So this is the adult size, and you do use a 6.5mm hook. If you're looking to do more of like a young adult, I would go with probably a 6. The one that I'm going to use in the tutorial today, I'm going to stick with my 6.5, and I'll probably do all of the rows just because this this yarn that I'm using here is a little thinner than what I usually use. So I think it's still going to work up fairly fast, but I think I'll still need all of these rows, but it'll probably fit more like this one. I think even in this one, I cut back on the amount of rows that I did. So again, it all depends on, you know, the size of a person's head and how far down they need it to go for it to fit comfortably. But like I was saying, I did modify the pattern a little bit on this one. I worked in a spiral on this instead of doing a chain 2 after each row. It's kind of been something that I've been enjoying doing lately when I'm making, especially with like stuffed toys and that, with just doing a continuous round, because it gets away from that seam that, I'll try to see if I can show you on this. It's hard through the camera, but you will be able to tell. Yeah, there it is right there. So I guess with the contrasting colors, it's not as easy to tell, and probably not as easy to tell through here either, but you will, when you do the chain 2, you do get a seam that can become noticeable. If this was maybe just done in one color, you might see that a little bit more. But I just find that it, I don't know, it kind of sticks out a little bit more than it would with just doing a spiral. So that's the one thing that I did differently with this one. And I'm going to do the same thing within this pattern tutorial. If you're more comfortable with doing, you know, the chain 2 so that you know your rows, you know, you're more than happy, you can follow along with the pattern that I have in the details here in the description. I will need a stitch marker, which I think I will need to find one because I'm not sure what I did with it. Alright, so I have my stitch marker here, so that will be very helpful when trying to determine when my row ends. Okay, so we're gonna get started here. Getting tangled up. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do to start this is we're gonna do a magic circle. Yay, everyone's favorite. I love magic circles now. Now that I kind of found my own little technique, it's so much easier to do. So I take my 2 strands of yarn and I just hold it with my thumb like that, and then I take the end here and I come up and around and I make like an X. I do also have a video on the magic circle or the magic ring as well, if you want to refer to it. And then what I do is I take my hook with the hook part down, I come up underneath, come up in between where you have that V, and then I'm going to grab those 2 strands, turn my hook and bring up a loop. I am going to chain 1. Okay, and now we need to do 8 double crochet into the ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull that. I didn't make my tail long enough, so okay. Should be better. How many do I have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 more. 6. 7. And then I think this is the last one, but I will check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome, isn't that cool? I got this yarn on my big yarn haul that I got off of Facebook Marketplace a couple weeks ago, and this was like one of the balls that was in there, and I have been obsessed with this since I got it, and I'm like, I want to make something with this, but I'm like, I have so many other projects going. So that's the great thing about me making these videos. Gives me an opportunity to, you know, use some yarn, and I'm also making something at the same time, so which adds to my inventory on my Etsy store. All right, so now that we have done that, we are now going to tighten up our little circle here, and I'm going to put my slip stitch in now. My slip stitch. That's what you would do if you were following the pattern. I'm looking at the pattern and trying to talk at the same time. I'm going to insert my stitch marker so I know where to leave off. So now we're just going to crochet 2 double crochets into each stitch around, so that we'll have a total of 16 stitches when we're done. Okay, so I'm going to get started with my 2 double crochets into each stitch. We just do that all the way around. Oops. Which will give us a stitch count of 16. This is why I like to use a stitch marker, because it lets me know that that's the last stitch I need to work into. This happens when you work with 2 strands. It gets tangled up a lot easier. But yeah, don't worry about this, your strands twisting together. I mean, it's just the way that it's, you know, you don't need to keep them like lined up or anything. It's just going to have this nice little pattern anyways with the combination of the 2 strands. So you can make these hats using the same color, so that it's just all one color. So you would just need to use both ends of the ball of yarn that you're using, or if you have 2 balls of yarn of the same color, you can just pull from the center on both of them. But I might actually try that with doing one color. I do really like these hats. And like I said, they are super fast to make up. I don't know if it takes me 30 minutes. I'm probably a little bit longer. I mean, of course, there's distractions. If I was able to just sit there and work away on it, it probably would only take about half an hour. It's just because you're using the 2 strands, so it just makes, and you're doing a double crochet, so it does make the hat work up a lot faster. Okay, so that completes our second round. I'm going to put my stitch marker back in there, and then we're going to move on to the next round. We are going to do a double crochet into the first stitch and then 2 double crochets into the next. So we're just going to do 1 and then we're going to do 2 into the next. And again, we repeat that process all the way around. So we do 1 double crochet and then we do 2 into the next stitch. So in the end, this will give us a stitch count of 24 once we're finished. I think this is so pretty. Okay. Oh dear. Here is real life for you. My yarn has gone and made itself its own little knot. Oh, there we go. That wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. Okay, whoops. Sorry, my yarn's bunching up here. So again, we're just doing a single and then we do a single double crochet into the stitch, and then in the next stitch we do 2 and then we just alternate back and forth until we get to the end. And we should have a stitch count of 24. So believe it or not, this pattern only has 13 rounds. So in the last 6 rounds are just doing a double crochet all the way across once we finish all of our rounds that we do increases on. Okay, so we're going to end with 2 double crochets. All right, so we're going to move on to round 4 now. So round 4, this time we're going to do just 1 double crochet into the first 2 stitches. And then in the next one, we're going to put 2 in the stitch. So we're just going to do 1, 1, and then 2. So how I do it in my head, I'll do it after this one, is I go single, meaning that I'm just doing 1 in the stitch, and then single, going to double. Okay. So you can see that that's going to be the top part of your hat, and we're just going to gradually increase this a little bit here. So we do one double crochet, and then we're going to put 2 into this stitch. Okay, so I'm just going to work away here. I'm going to pause the video because try to save some time, and I'll come back when we get to ready to start the next round. All right, so now we're going to move on to round 5. So you probably have guessed it. We're now going to do a single double crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to put 2 into the next one. So we're going to do 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to double up onto the next one. And then again, we are going to repeat that. So 3 double crochets, 1 in each stitch. And then we double up with 2. So again, I'm going to pause the video because I think everybody knows the hang of it by now, so you don't have to keep watching me go through this. Although sometimes I have found that I was told, I think by my sister, that some of my videos are, even though she has no idea what I'm talking about because she doesn't crochet, she would like to, but she doesn't. But she, I mean, you got to start from the beginning if you don't know how to crochet. You need to start from my beginning tutorials, where I start with the basics. But she did say that she almost found my, just listening to me was relaxing. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But anyways, I don't know if everybody feels that way, but I will pause the video here and I will come back when we are ready to start row 6. Okay, so we're going to get started on row 6. This will probably be the last row that I'm going to show you the start of, just because round 7 to 13 is just doing double crochets in each stitch all the way around until we get to the end. But so for round 6, we're now going to do 4 double crochets into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to put 2 into the next one. So again, that's 4 double crochets into the next 4 stitches. 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to put 2 into the next one. And then you're just going to continue on with that pattern. So 4 double crochets, and then you're going to put 2 into the next one. And you're just going to do that all the way around until you get to the end. And then when you move on to round 7, you're just going to do a double crochet in every stitch around. And that's what's going to build this part down here to give your hat your length. And like I said, you know, it's just kind of preference, or if you're making various sizes and wanting to sell them, it's sometimes nice to have a little bit larger ones. You know, I mean, there's people that, I mean, I think I tried this on last night when I had my hair up in a bun. So, I mean, you could get away with wearing this one and it would probably still sit okay. Without my hair being up, it kind of comes down a little bit too low, or like too much into my face. But I could probably do away with getting rid of at least one of the rows, maybe even two. But again, if you're looking at, you want to have different sizes that people can choose from, or depending on who you're making it for. But so, I mean, this would, this would be like a large adult size. This one here, fits me perfectly. So I guess like a, a medium to small adult would probably be good with this one there. But anyway, so back to this, got sidetracked. So yeah, you're just going to finish off round 6 with the 4 double crochets and then 2 into the next one. And then round 7 to 13 is just doing double crochets all the way across. You can, see what your length looks like. See if you need to go to row 13. Sometimes it depends on your tension too. If you're really tight, if your tension's really tight, then you might need to actually add a couple extra rows. But yeah, so that's all there is to it for this hat. I will come back once I have finished rows 7 to 13, and then I will show you again how to do the edge, which is the crab stitch. We kind of work backwards. It just kind of finishes it off nicely, I think. I kind of like, just that little rounded texture that it gives it. But yeah, so we will come back when I am finished with the next few rows, and we will finish up this hat. Okay, so I have finished all 13 rows now. It looks great. I think it's it's going to be a good size. So I am going to show you how to do the edging on the bottom of it using the crab stitch. Now this is personal preference. You don't have to add this if you don't want to. I mean, I think it just, it depends on if you like the look of it or if you just want to leave it the way it is. But I will show you how, because you can see how we have a bit of a transition from here to there. So I just want to show you as well how I kind of tidy that up so it's a little bit closer. So I am going to go in and just do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the next one. Okay, so now to do the crab stitch, which is also called the reverse single crochet, we're going to chain 1, and then we're just going to go into not that stitch at the bottom, but we're going to go into the next stitch. And then you're basically just going to have your 2 loops, which is your 4 strands of thread. And then you're going to come through. So we kind of go in through the front here, pull up a loop, and then pull through both, or all 4 strands of yarn, I guess. Okay, and then we just do this all the way across. So again, we're working backwards. Okay, so we just in through the front, pull up our loop, and then pull through. So we're basically just doing the single crochet, except for we're working backwards. So you can see it's kind of creating this like kind of spiral edging on it, which I think looks kind of neat. So you could just do this with one color if you wanted to. That would work out just fine. But you just have to use the 2 strands so that it would give you the thickness. Okay, so yeah, so we just go in through the front, pull up our loop. So now we have the 2 loops, which is the 4 strands of yarn, and then we pull through. So I am just going to continue working on that. And I will come back when we are at the end of the hat. Okay, so I finished the last one there. So I'm just going to kind of close this off a little bit, and we're just going to come in here and we'll just do a slip stitch. See if I can get into this over here. There, that should do it. Okay, what's going on? Ah, oh no. we go. So I just need to pull this through that. And then we should be good. And then I'm going to find some scissors here. There. Then we just need to weave in our ends. But yeah, so there's the edging on it there now. Whoops. On it there now. It's kind of neat, eh? Yeah, I like how that looks. But again, you can go without it as well if you wanted to. But yeah, I need to have like a, I wonder if I can adjust my camera here so that I can kind of show you that a bit better to see it full scale without getting cut off. There. So that is our finished 30-minute beanie. 30 plus is what we'll say. I don't think that it what takes me 30 minutes right now. I think I need to make a few more. Probably the child's one I would think would only be about 30 minutes because it's fairly, but I mean, again, you could have one of these completed in under an hour, I would say probably. But yeah, so and then you can choose whether you'd like to add a pom-pom or not, or just leave it the way that it is. I know that last year pom-poms were quite popular, and I think they add, a little, make it, a hat more characteristic. I also have these little leather tags that I add to my hats as well that say they're handmade. I think I have one that has a bee on it and one that has like a crown. So that's like another embellishment that you can add to your projects as well. But I hope you enjoyed this pattern tutorial, and I will see you guys again soon.